Hello everyone, it's Natasha from Treasure Books. Today we are using up some book pages and some scraps of fabric and paper, and we are creating these. So these little beauties are used as side pockets in your journal, just like so. And obviously they are there to hold little pieces of ephemera, your photographs, postcards, whatever it may be that you want to tuck into a journal. They all look really good in a journal. So you would just glue down those two sides and you have a pocket. So let's begin. These are the things that you're going to need. Book pages, some paper scraps, some fabric scraps, and some images. These are the images from an 80s fashion book, and I avocado dye them. You can use magazine images that fussy cutouts like this, maybe some die cuts, this is from a gardening book, stamps, words, so anything that will be a focal point on your piece. So this is the order that I work in as well. I like to put my paper down first, then fabric, then image. So you can see here, paper, fabric, image, paper, fabric, image, paper, fabric, image. Here are some of the other ones that I've done. So you can see when you're looking at it as a whole, you don't quite notice right away all of the elements. And it looks quite rich, but there's only three things: fabric, paper, image. You can have it as simple as that. So this one's quite simple. Or you can add more elements. Here I didn't add an image, but I could. This is like a little pocket. So it had a tag in there, but it's gone now. So this one's got some extra tulle on there and, two different pieces of fabric. And so you can play around with it. But the real simple and easy way is just to use one piece of paper, one piece of fabric, one image. Really quite straightforward, isn't it? So now I'm just going to choose two book pages that I'm ripping out of this book. Old unwanted book that was being thrown out. So please don't get angry about me ripping books. And here we go. This is what I'm doing. I'm just going to rip down like this. And then if you want your pocket to sit on this side of your journal, then you rip this way. If you want your pocket to sit on the other side, then you rip this way. Pretty self-explanatory, I think. But for some reason, I'm making all of mine to be sitting on the left-hand side of my journal. So here's one in progress. When I'm adding my embellishments, obviously this will have to go here on this side. I can't have it. Well, I could theoretically have it here and then have a pocket there. I think I'm just gonna keep doing what I've been doing so far, and I'll just do them all this way. So now the first thing that I do is I choose a piece of paper and just plop it on there. Maybe, if it's sticking out, then tear some off. And I really like this one, so and you might even want to layer some piece of paper like this. I like this, so I'm going to do that. And then maybe I'll pop this one here. So maybe this scrap piece of fabric can go on here. It's not looking great, but it will. And then maybe, I'm not a fan of that one for some reason, so maybe this one. Just plop it down, that's the thing is, you don't want to spend too much time thinking about what goes with what and what should go where. I think just make any decision. And then I might just trim this one off like this and then just put that image down. So what should I use? I like this one for here. And then perhaps I'll just stick with one of my face images over here. So I'm really happy with how this one looks, but for some reason this one needs something, so maybe I can add a piece of lace. So I'm adding a fourth element. You can do whatever you want, that's the whole point, but you can just stick with three elements. But I'm actually really liking this. I'm just going to ink a little bit. The idea is we're collaging over here, so anything goes, right? You can just plop things down, keep adding if you're not quite happy, and that's it. So at this point, I will now take this to my sewing machine, because I'm not gluing it down. If you don't have a sewing machine, you glue it down. And the first thing that I do is I start sewing around the last piece that I've added. So I've added this image, so I'm just going to sew all around the image. And that way, if you can see, this image is touching all of my pieces that I've put underneath. So nothing is going to be falling out or moving around. All right, here we go. So I'm just going to use a straight stitch on this image and just try to kind of keep everything in place until I start sewing. Okay, so see how the image is, the sewing is giving it a nice kind of a frame, making it stand out. I think the sewing itself adds another dimension as well. So now what I'm going to do is just sew right down here. I might use some different stitches. It really doesn't matter what I do. And I might do some sewing over here because I don't want things to be moving around. But this is mainly because I think the stitching adds extra character to a piece. So over here, I might even do a bit of a zigzag stitch. And I might even add some zigzag stitching all the way up. And this is just for looks. And I'll just stitch these two pieces here as well. I'll just go straight down. Maybe I'll do a zigzag stitch again. It doesn't really matter. So here's my piece. I didn't even sort of worry about what color thread I'm using, just whatever is in my machine. Also, the last thing that I personally do is I get rid of all of these bits that are sticking out, but I do want to bring them to this side. That is just a personal thing that I like to do. I just like the threads to be hidden in the back, but even the threads being visible and sort of sticking around everywhere is a nice raggedy look too. And here we go, nice and neat. So because this book page that I'm using is very, very fragile, you can see here it's very old. What I did also is I reinforced it with just a little bit of masking tape. And this is also another good thing to do if you want to secure your stitches at the back, if you're afraid that, you know, things will start to unravel. But okay, so when you're choosing your images, it's much easier to sew around a simple rectangular piece like this rather than something like this image. So this one will be definitely a bit more difficult, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. Alright, so now with this one here, if I sew all around my image with a straight stitch, I'm going to eventually come to her face and sew right over her face. So what I decided to do is not to stitch all of the sections. I'm just going to stitch some parts, and I'm going to use a straight stitch. But before I begin, I might even start just over here because this keeps falling out. As you can see, things are not looking good, they're not looking perfect, and that's absolutely fine because we'll just keep working and then they will look good. I did say to start sewing with the last piece that you've added, but because this is such a little intricate piece, that's why I'm doing the underneath first. And now I'm adding this piece, and I'll just start sort of maybe sewing around her skirt. It doesn't matter, I just do whatever. And here it is. So as you can see, it's, you know, all over the place and crooked. So I say let's just add another little piece because who cares? You can do whatever you want, and so can I. And here we go. That is the finished piece. The more the merrier. Well, not necessarily always, but this, I think, kind of balanced everything out. So the point is to just keep adding things, don't overthink it. I think once it's part of the whole, it's inside a journal with a little something tucked in, it just looks so beautiful. Let's have a look. I've done a few of these collages now, and I think just putting things down, not overthinking too much, adding a little bit of a focal point, just make something and it will look good. I'm looking for a page that doesn't already have something on there. Maybe this one. So we would glue this down, and then, you know, anything that goes in there, some sort of a journaling spot, you know, looks really cute. Even this one. Look at that. I mean, I don't know. I just love it. Anything that goes on there. See what I mean when it becomes part of a whole? When you're looking at it like this, it's nothing much, but when it's actually part of a whole journal, together with all the other bits and pieces, it looks really beautiful. Even here, so here's an empty page with nothing happening. What do you think? Even if we put the pocket this way, that would still work, like this. I think in general we overthink things too much, and I know I did. Even when I started making these, I was a little bit overthinking it, thinking what sort of I should put there. But then once I started using these images, they were all exactly the same, so it was fine. I knew exactly what I was doing. Needed a piece of fabric, needed an image, and I needed a little bit of paper. So it was really, really quite easy to pull things out from my scraps box and just create. So please do let me know what you think. I hope you'll go ahead and make some. That looks really cool. I know I'm going to be making a lot more because it's so easy and quick. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!